from News Channel 8 in Tampa, Florida, this is Bucs Bonus on WFLA Now. Powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY.
The Buccaneers open the season with a statement shutdown of the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Brady, all smiles. Now, they turn their attention to a familiar foe, Jameis Winston and the New Orleans Saints at the Caesars Superdome this Sunday. Standard 1 o'clock kickoff. Hello there to you folks on Bucs Bonus, presented by 1-800-ASK-GARY, JB Biunno, Dan Lucas, Karen Loftus in the Stream Center for the first time. You guys, welcome to the all-new Stream Center here at WFLA Now.
Thank
Isn't
you.
this great?
Thanks for having us.
It's great to have you
Can
guys.
I be selfish real quick, JB?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know how much, I'll speak for those of us in the industry who cover the NFL. I love Sunday 1 o'clock games.
Man.
I love them. I know
He
everybody
does.
likes prime time, Monday night for the Sunday 1 o'clock game. The flow of your workday on a Sunday 1 o'clock is different than an 8:20 or a Monday night football game. Big difference. We like 1 o'clock games.
Yeah, the 4 o'clock game, give me prime time or give me right at the start of the slate of games on Sunday.
Yes.
The Buccaneers had to wait a little bit for their week 1 matchup, of course, it being on Sunday Night Football against the high-profile Dallas Cowboys, Dan and Karen. Looking here at some of the results, Brady, 18 of 27, 212 yards, 1 passing touchdown. A couple of red zone opportunities perhaps eluded the team, but really, I think the defense was the story as far as week 1, right, Karen?
Yeah, it absolutely was. I mean, you just look at that there. I mean, the 3 points, I mean, that says it. If you don't let the other team get into the end zone, I'd say your team did a pretty good job. I think they ended up with 4 sacks. Just a very dominating performance when it proved that they really needed that since the offense was only able to get into the end zone that one time.
Dan, your big week 1 takeaway with a season opening win against the Cowboys.
Well, it was nice to have the takeaway be that the drama was on the Dallas sideline with Dak Prescott's injury, and now they're just in a world of a mess, progressing for at least 6 weeks here. The Bucs defense, to me, exceeded what I thought would happen. 3 points on the opening drive, and you thought, okay, can the Bucs answer this? And the game went on. It was a 1-score game for the most part throughout the bulk of the game. And the defense just was not – you kept waiting for Dallas to break through, and it never happened. And I think that's a wonderful start for the defense. A couple of tweaks here and there, a couple of guys in new positions like Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Akeem Hicks on the defensive line, and Antoine Winfield was moving up and back as a safety, and it just worked. And we heard about it for 4 weeks, but it worked.
You know what's great about the defense right now? I mean, mostly, let's knock on wood, healthy.
Yeah.
Now, the offensive side of the ball, let's go over to our week 2 injury report, Karen and Dan. And the big news here comes out just less than an hour ago with Chris Godwin.
Yeah, so Godwin's out. That's definitive, which, I mean, with a hamstring injury, I mean, you know that's going to be unlikely that you're going to come back the following week from that, even though they said it wasn't as severe as they thought it was going to be. So Godwin's out. McCollum and Donovan Smith, doubtful, and then the whole rest of the lot is questionable, which Dan and I were just talking about. That a lot of those questionable guys, I mean,
Zion McCollum is a good questionable because he hurt his hamstring on day 1 of the joint workouts with the Titans back in camp, and he hasn't been able to do a thing. And this is a guy with expectations as a rookie in the defensive backfield. So he's headed the right direction. Unfortunately, the Donovan Smith is not as encouraging for sure. And I don't think we see him Sunday. I wouldn't want to see him with the moneymaker, the arms and the elbows going up against that Saints pass rush. If you're not 100%, then just take your chances. You can put Josh Wells back there and put Leonard Fournette or Rachaad White out to help him out, and that will equal a Donovan Smith. So take the safe route when it comes to that.
I see bad news and I see good news when I look at this injury report. I'm looking here at 5 wide receivers on this list.
Yeesh.
Evans, Gage, Godwin, Jones, Perriman. The bad news, of course, is losing Godwin. The good news is there's perhaps no larger amount of depth on this depth chart than at wide receiver. I mean, the Buccaneers have wide receivers for days, right?
right. And that's why I was actually talking about this yesterday, is that's why the Bucs stacked their receivers room as such, and why they have so many good players, because they were saying last year they ran into the situation where they had so many injured wide receivers. So now you find yourself in week 2 And this is
Testing
why,
it
this
already.
is why you have the depth.
I think I'm encouraged that Julio Jones practiced Friday, so that's good. So he might be trending in the right direction. The shock for me is Mike Evans. All of a sudden, poof, he's on the injury report with a calf.
I know.
Where did that come from? He was a non-factor injury-wise coming into the season and got through the Dallas game without any problems. All of a sudden, a calf. So hopefully that's one of those strain issues that can be a pain tolerance. We'll see. But Evans would be the bigger loss,
right,
of all of them,
and
if he can't play.
And staying on the offense, then we're deep at wide receiver. But on the O-line, that is not an area of strength just because of an off-season of just losing bodies left and right for a variety of different reasons. So Donovan Smith, you guys are saying more than likely not going. He's a toss-up, right?
Yeah.
And
that's what Bowles was saying today.
And Tristan Wirfs, you lose Smith and Wirfs, now we're in trouble, right?
Yeah, I think Wirfs was on there as questionable. Let me check on my injury
well,
report.
remember he had the oblique injury.
It's abdomen, and he's been limited all week. He's questionable.
Could be an aggravation type thing. There's guys. The thing about the offensive line is everybody in the depth is versatile, so you can put guys almost in any position as a backup player. Nick Leverett is the biggest name for the backup offensive line. You can stick him anywhere. Josh Wells is a traditional tackle, a backup tackle. So he's occupying Donovan Smith's spot. So if Tristan Wirfs has trouble, I don't know, maybe you put Leverett out there on the end, but you have guys who can fill in. But remember, those guys as a starting five, and I'll say they're elite, even with Luke Gedeke and Robert Hainsey on there. This offensive line is elite. You take one of the two tackles out, you've got to pitch in somehow. You've got to help them out against a pass rush that is elite, and that's what the Saints have.
Yeah, and you also think about, if we're talking about the same situation, how they finished the Cowboys game. Donovan Smith got injured in the second quarter. They were able to adjust on the fly with Wells coming in, and they did phenomenally in the run game, and Brady was only sacked twice in the game, and one of them might have even been before Donovan was out. It was on that one play that Donovan got hurt. So they played well with the group they had, and that was them adjusting on the fly. So if it's the same group that they had to finish the Cowboys game with a week of preparation with that group, then they're going to be even better off this week for the Saints. You know what the irony was? You had the injury, and you got Gedeke, the rookie at left guard, Josh Wells at left tackle. And when you looked at you call it a spray chart, like hitting, all of Leonard Fournette's runs were to the left. The unproven side of the offensive line. So I found that interesting that the Bucs decided to attack that side with Micah Parsons, the great Cowboys pass rushing linebacker who had given Wells a hard time when he first entered the game, that they just went right at him. And they were successful. I think Fournette hit 100 yards in the third quarter. Yeah.
In the third quarter, he hit 100.
Yeah. So Leonard Fournette
total
is
here, 127 yards on the ground. Great
and he
game.
had 10 receiving, so 137 total yards from
That's a good day.
Fournette. Yeah, I'd say yes.
Really good day. And let me ask you this question as we look one more time at the injury report before we move on to the New Orleans Saints this Sunday at Dan's beloved time of 1 o'clock kickoff. As we look here at the injury report, talking about the offensive line, on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you for the remainder of the season? Talking about the O-line and protecting Tom Brady. Are we talking high, medium, low level of concern?
Injuries? Like, do we think the team is going to stay healthy?
Just protecting Brady. Brady, of course, is the centerpiece for this team to be successful for the entirety of the season and then the postseason. You got to keep them up.
Yeah.
So keeping up, as far as the offensive line and their level of protection, your confidence in the offensive line for the remainder of the season is how high?
I'll give you two answers.
I was like, are we going
I'm
numbers?
confident long term, but I'm afraid the Bucs need to be on high alert this Sunday because they're going against a pass rush that just has figured them out. And Dennis Allen, the Saints coach, who's the architect of that defensive scheme, has the Bucs number, and he can do things with stunts and that kind of thing that has just given Tom Brady and all of those elite offensive linemen I just talked about fits. So this is not a awesome scenario for the Bucs offense having a kind of a piece together offensive line on Sunday against that pass rush.
As we look here, your week 2 preview on Bucs Bonus, Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the New Orleans Saints. The Buccaneers open as a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under is 48 points, and we have some key storylines. Let's start with just the opening here, the opening line, 2.5 points. That seems a little close for me between the Saints and the Bucs. No,
it sounds like Vegas is throwing the Bucs a bone here and calling them the favorite on the road.
Right, in the dome.
Yeah, first of all, NFL teams on the road, unless it's really a matchup between, one spectrum or the other, you rarely see the road team favorite.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in that, but I think maybe they thought the Saints' struggles against the Falcons last week play into that, but not in their home opener.
I thought
it's going to be crazy.
I thought it was going to open wider, maybe, but then again, you guys are the
Oh,
insiders.
you thought the Bucs would be bigger?
I thought the Bucs would be a bigger favorite. Reason being is because I actually watched a lot of the Saints game last week in week 1, and I wasn't extraordinarily impressed. I think that they found something in the second half. Michael Thomas is back, by the way.
Ooh, he's back.
Talk about a big weapon for the Saints, but wasn't overly impressed. And I think that the Buccaneers do have the more than other teams. Super Bowl contenders this year, they have perhaps an edge over 3 far inferior opponents in the division, right? The NFC South is a very winnable division for the Buccaneers.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. But I think the Saints are the stumbling block. If that's the team that'll knock the Bucs off if they don't win the division, if the Saints get hot. And I agree with you, by the way. The Falcons took this big lead on New Orleans and just kept opening the door, and the Saints finally kicked it in. That could have been and should have been a Falcons victory. But like you said, the Saints found something offensively and were able to cash in when it mattered down the stretch for them. But offensively in the first half, not so much.
Don't listen to me about the 2.5 points, folks. They are the insiders. Again, your official Bucs station. We're here live on Bucs Bonus, powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY. And again, let's go over these key storylines. And let's start with this one. Will Tom Brady be Tom Brady amid the concerns and the headlines that have come out this week? Gisele Bündchen, Tom Brady's wife, Mrs. Brady, speaking out and indicating that there have been some concerns about Tom Brady in his mid-40s playing quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and of course being the most high-profile name and face in the NFL, and of course the injury concerns that come along with playing the quarterback position. The storyline about his personal life. Issue, non-issue? Is it just tabloid fiction, or is it actually going to have an impact on the field as far as Brady's mindset when he puts on that number 12 jersey and takes the field with his teammates?
I say it's a non-issue.
Non-issue.
It's Tom Brady. I don't think there's anything outside that's going to shake him.
You don't think that when he's, under center, he's thinking, man, I forgot to scrub that one dish in the sink. Man, I could have been sweeping today, or I could have been mowing the lawn. That's not on Tom Brady's mind.
I don't think so. No.
Hard to believe.
I think between the lines, there's nobody more focused. I mean, the guy is a machine when he gets on the field. And a lot of times, so many football players, they all have personal stories, and you hear stories of hardship or loss or something in the week of a game or in the weeks leading up to a game. And it turns out that the game itself is therapeutic. It's the only place you can go to escape the soap opera or the drama. It's waiting for you when you're done, but it's the only place he can go. He's with his guys. He's on the bench. He's playing football. So he'll have that going for him on Sunday.
I find that fascinating, that is his happy place.
Yeah.
That the football field is Tom Brady's happy place. And if there's one place that he's able to not focus on all the headlines and so on and so forth, the off-the-field stuff, it's during game day.
Absolutely.
Which, of course. Let's move on to number 2, the banged-up offensive line looking to find its rhythm, finding its form, find its sense of identity. But you guys just not all that concerned after what you saw in week 1, even with the injury potentially to Donovan Smith if he can't go.
Well, I think the one thing that's going to help the Bucs in this game, and I actually think the Bucs are going to play well offensively, is the running game. And Todd Bowles said during training camp, we think we've found a running game. And I to which I said, oh, okay, that's great, Coach. Let's see the running game. Well, guess what? In week 1, we did. And I think that helps kind of loosen up the pressure on Brady. If you go just to the Cowboys game last year, Brady threw 50 passes, which is a lot of Bruce Arians, right?
Yeah.
Wanting that biscuit for risk it. So I believe he threw 28 passes or 27 passes last week.
27.
So so that's balance. Even though Byron Leftwich says we don't go out there trying to be balanced, we go out there trying to call plays that whatever's going to win the game. But I will guarantee you that if you can keep Cam Jordan from hitting Tom Brady by handing the ball to Leonard Fournette, that's what you're going to do.
And I think they got some good reps there just with Robert Hainsey with Tom Brady in a game, a full game. And you saw Tom Brady get after Hainsey a couple times. And I think they're, working out this center quarterback chemistry. But those valuable reps that they got before, any mistakes are a lot easier to correct after a win. So I'm sure they spent a lot of time, Tom Brady, with all of his guys on the offensive line, pointing out the things that they can improve upon, because there's always room for growth, and then build on that from week 1 to week 2.
But most important, if you ever walk down Bourbon Street in the past 2 years,
I have.
Everybody has seen the spray painted Tom Brady voodoo doll with, with the pens in it. I took a picture of it. Actually, I took a picture of it the night before they beat them in the divisional playoff game. So I thought, well, the voodoo doll backfired. But in the game since, and in all the regular season games before that, they've just it is voodoo.
I haven't seen this.
It's voodoo on Tom Brady. I'm gonna find the picture.
I'm looking at I need to find the Tom Brady voodoo doll.
I've got it. I'll look it up for you.
I
thought it was a tremendous voodoo doll.
Let's
Dennis Allen probably.
Let's talk about the voodoo behind Jameis Winston. Okay, taking on, of course, the team that drafted him. The team that, of course, he called home for multiple seasons, the team he was supposed to be the franchise quarterback for, now playing for the division rival New Orleans Saints. Jameis Winston, there is no doubt in my mind, and I'll ask the two of you, that he's thinking about, man, I'd really like to stick it to my old team on Sunday and win at the Superdome. But he said to ESPN, Buccaneers are just another team. Do you buy that for a second? Buccaneers are just another team?
I say, of course he's going to say that. Like, that's what you're going to say, right? But I know that Dan can speak better to, like, Jameis here in Tampa and moving on.
Jameis is a motivated individual, and fans can say whatever they want. But first of all, let's acknowledge he himself has come back from this serious knee injury that happened in this game in New Orleans last year on a tackle by Devin White. No bad blood between those two. They message each other quite frequently, apparently. But of course he wants to win this game, because this is a chance for Jameis. He's never done it. He's only had one winning record as a starting quarterback. A chance to get his team over the hump. And what better way to do it than to not only knock off the Bucs, but to win the NFC South and make a run in the playoffs. He didn't get that chance last year. And one of the things that he has been admired for in New Orleans is his ability to pick up the offense so quickly and run it efficiently. And I think the Bucs ended up playing poorly in that game last year in New Orleans anyways, but Jameis was off to a good start, was he not?
Yeah.
In that first game? Yeah.
And let's not forget, this is somebody who has in the past led the league in passing. So somebody who, without question, and now he knows that offense now. The one thing I think surprised everybody about the Saints in week 1 was the amount of opportunities that Taysom Hill got. The Swiss Army knife of the New Orleans Saints, who kind of, I don't want to say forgotten about, but as far as his versatility, people didn't really know exactly how they were going to use him in that offense and how often that we were going to see him. And all of a sudden, I got friends in fantasy football leagues who are picking up Taysom Hill, trying to start him at the tight end position, hoping that he gets carries and receptions and so on and so forth. That also too cannot be understated, right?
Yeah, they have a lot of weapons. I mean, you talk about Taysom. He's leading the team in rushing through that one game. He had 81 yards on 4 carries, so that's pretty impressive. And then they have their weapons of Jarvis Landry and Michael Thomas. So I don't think there's any shortage of weapons on the other side of the ball too. So
as we look here at your key storylines, before we go on to our fantasy outlook, give me a storyline that isn't on here that you guys are going to be keeping an eye on Sunday at Dan's beloved time of 1 o'clock. What's it going to be? Give me something that you're watching for as you watch the game.
Well,
who's going to be there, by the way? I'm sorry.
Me smiling at 1 o'clock. That's guaranteed.
Be there. Karen's going to be there.
I can tell you the one thing I'm looking for on the inactives is, are we going to see Kyle Rudolph active, the tight end? I was blown away last week when he was not active. Everything you did to get him in here, the salary and that, and maybe his progress was a little slow. Maybe Todd Bowles said the matchup called for 2 guys to be called up on special teams, and that's not what Rudolph does. But then in hindsight, after the game, what did we criticize on the Bucs offense? Red zone. Well, that's your tight ends. So do you bring Rudolph, make him active? Whatever kept him out of the lineup last week, you move that aside and put him out there maybe with Cam Brate to try and open up this red zone a little bit.
Karen, who's the tight end? Who's TE1 on this team? Is it Cam Brate?
Cam Brate.
Kyle Rudolph would be a supplemental.
Oh, I thought you meant in week 1.
No, I mean going forward. As far as Tom Brady thinking about throwing the ball to a tight end in those red zone opportunities that Dan was just talking about, who's he looking for in the red zone? I
mean, it depends. I mean, you have Cam Brate, who has familiarity with the offense, and then you have Kyle Rudolph too, who hasn't played in a game with the Bucs yet. So once he gets in the game, it's demonstrated ability with Tom Brady. Like, can I trust you? So if he's thrown it to Kyle Rudolph and Kyle Rudolph catches every single thing that comes his way, it might lean in favor of him. But if Cam Brate, he knows where to be, he knows what Tom likes, he knows how to play for that quarterback and with that quarterback.
An embarrassment of riches the Bucs have on offense. He forgot about Kyle Rudolph, who with the Vikings was a darn good tight end. Yeah. We're talking about Leonard Fournette being able to catch balls out of the backfield. You've got, even with the Godwin injury, Buccaneers offense probably going to be okay, even on the road in the Superdome. What's your key storyline you're watching for, Karen?
I'm going to say 2. I have one on offense and defense. On offense, it's red zone. That was one area they struggled in, is can they get into the end zone? Scoring 1 touchdown against the Saints, I don't think is gonna cut it. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I really liked how the Bucs defense was flying around, and their pass defense in particular is something, and especially now going up, I had mentioned him earlier, but Jarvis Landry going up against Juice and going up against Mike T, how they're just gonna get in the passing lanes and break up passes, get some interceptions, and see how that matchup is.
So let's take a look at I love it.
She's just throwing out nicknames and all this, I got you, Juice. I got you.
Again, your official Bucs station, WFLA News Channel 8, our insiders, Dan Lucas and Karen Loftus. Before we wrap up the show, everybody, your fantasy outlook. Okay, let's talk about the 10 names that we've got here. We don't have to talk about all 10. We're gonna ask Dan and Karen to isolate.
I appreciate this graphic. Let me just shout out that graphic. I appreciate your time in creating this.
Oh man, thank you.
This gives me you get to pick.
Get to pick. Yeah. It's like bingo, but Buccaneers
edition.
Let's
cross Godwin off.
Yeah, Godwin is.
So now we're down to 9. Karen, you go first. Give me a name.
I really like the way Julio showed out in week 1.
Wow.
I was very, very pleasantly surprised with Julio Jones. Not that I ever doubted, but it was his speed. I had seen something come across my Twitter feed. I think it was Ian Rappaport tweeted the speed of the receivers. And that 48-yard reception Julio got, he was faster than 20 miles per hour. I mean, if you get that kind of speed and him and Tom Brady are making connections like they did in that one pass in particular in week 1, I think he's going to be the dude.
Mm-hmm. Closer to Falcons Julio Jones than Titans Julio Jones.
Yeah.
That
it's
to
an
me
injury thing with him.
Is unbelievably exciting about the prospect. And again, talking about one of the most deep positions on this roster. Dan, your fantasy player to perhaps pay closer attention to for week 2.
I love the Julio Jones pick, especially if Evans is a little more healthy than we think. So he becomes the guy the Saints have to focus on. I think that's a really good thing for Tom Brady. I would really love to say the defense, but I think there's going to be give and take in this game. I think the Saints are going to get points.
Balanced.
So I think this is going to be a maybe not a high scoring game, but it's going to be a possession game, which puts a lot of pressure on the defense and the offense as well. But it may sound simple to me, to everybody, but Leonard Fournette,
man, you took mine.
He needed
hometown guy.
He needed that performance last week. He needed it for a couple of reasons. One, for the Bucs to show the running game, which they talked about, but we didn't get a chance to really see at length in the preseason. It's there, and it's a confidence booster for him. Rashad White comes in, has a tremendous camp, tremendous preseason. He's pushing the entire running back core. When the depth chart comes out before week 1, he's the backup. He's the number 2. That's pushing Leonard Fournette. So you're looking over your shoulder at Rachaad White, which, by the way, the Bucs are super excited about the future of Rachaad White. So if you're in Leonard Fournette's shoes, well, what does that mean? When's the future? Week 5? Next year? What is so Leonard Fournette's going to want to get on the field every time and just hit one out of the park. He did last week. Now let's see if they can duplicate that.
Man, I love the Leonard Fournette pick. That was going to be my pick.
There's a dark horse
going back
sitting
to
there.
Louisiana, of course. You know what? I know it's probably he's not going to get started on a lot of rosters, but look, if Julio Jones commands a lot of attention, if Mike Evans does go and he commands a lot of attention, maybe out of the slot, maybe Russell Gage. Look out for him to finally. I don't think he had too much of an impact in week 1. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct.
He's a Louisiana guy too.
Another Louisiana guy. So Russell Gage, who was the dude, by the way, in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Right. He was. I mean, pretty much he was the guy next to Kyle Pitts in his rookie year. I loved what Russell Gage was doing for Atlanta. Comes over to the Buccaneers, thinks that he is going to be the Antonio Brown replacement. He's not, because Julio Jones gets signed. I forget the time difference, but if you're Russell Gage, by the way, and you're thinking about, man, I get to catch balls from Tom Brady. I'm part of this offense with Evans and and Chris Godwin, and then signs Julio Jones. You're thinking, man, but you know what though? Godwin's hurt, and maybe Gage gets an opportunity this week.
And don't forget about Cam Brate, because I'll say this, because I wouldn't say he was a non-factor in the first game. I think he was in charge of blocking a lot. This is another red zone target. And Kyle Rudolph, if he's active and if he plays. Chuck it up there to the tall guys. Cam Brate's one of them. Cam Brate, his history here, doesn't rack up the yards, but he scores touchdowns, and there's a reason for that. So you throw these tall boys out there, he's one. He's a target.
Think about the vertical element for this team. You got Mike Evans, you got Julio, you got Cam Brate, and you got Kyle Rudolph. How tall is Cam Brate? Is you consider him a vertical threat?
I believe 6'3", 3 or 4.
He's
a tall guy.
That's vertical enough.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Jump ball kind of guy. Just throw it up there, let Cam Brate get it.
Let him go get it. Mike Evans is tall too. He makes those catches for a reason. Yeah, the one-hander reaching over the back. Yeah, watch off camera.
Man,
there's Evans.
We can all do it. We can all do it. Look at that.
Yeah, exactly.
It just
makes the catch.
Belongs next to the Mona Lisa.
That's what the team put on it.
Yeah. And they said end in the practice facility or end in the building.
Right, exactly.
And shout out to the photog who got that shot also. It's just a great iconic piece of at least recent Buccaneers memory.
Great shot.
Just a great shot.
Well, Evans said the picture was better than the catch.
Man, it's a great
photo. So humble of him. By the way, I don't know if you can see this.
Did you find the
voodoo doll? You got it?
I do remember you posting that.
Hold on. Let's go full screen. Yeah. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Move it over.
Move
over a little bit. There
Use
it is.
your remote, Dan.
Oh, yeah. Here, hold on.
There we go. There we go.
You got you kids and your technology.
There you go.
There's
the Tom Brady voodoo doll.
There's the voodoo doll.
How many needles does this voodoo doll have in it as of Sunday at 1 o'clock?
I'm telling you, Dennis Allen painted that thing one night. Now, it's on a boarded up window, so I would hope the French Quarter is hopping again. But, yeah, there it is. And that was there last year. Somebody took a picture of it, and, of course, the Saints whipped the Bucs. So that was voodoo.
Let's hope the voodoo does not work for the New Orleans Saints and the crazy fans on Bourbon Street, Caesars Superdome.
A sad face.
Karen, you looking forward to going back to your old stomping grounds? Gonna go hang out?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. It'll be fun to see all the sports media friends.
See, Karen doesn't. Karen has all these personal relationships in New Orleans. I just go for the gumbo and the beignets.
I was there. I was at
That's my relationship.
Just a couple months ago, right?
Wow.
I mean, yeah. Dan, I'm with you. Get the gumbo, get some beignets. Love New Orleans.
I don't even. Karen, do you eat beignets?
No.
Wow.
Nope.
I wasn't gonna bring it up, but there's a lot of like traditional New Orleans food that I just don't get down with. I don't understand. I like oysters, char grilled.
Okay. All right.
So that's probably like the one big New Orleans thing.
Love it. Yeah. Well, have a great time in
Thank you.
New Orleans.
Sorry, we're picking on Karen's culinary choices here.
I know.
Yes.
Karen Loftus will be able to grab any food that she wants inside the Caesars Superdome because she will be there, of course, for Saints Buccaneers Week 2. Can the Buccaneers improve their record to 2-0 against their NFC South divisional opponent? We will, of course, find out. You can see here on the center of your screen. 1 o'clock kickoff Sunday on Fox, but of course, keep it right here on WFLA, your official Bucs station, for Dan and Karen, all of their exclusive insider access, all the good stuff that they get to do as far as covering your hometown Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we will be live on WFLA.com, the WFLA app. We plan on being live every Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central, on the WFLA app or on WFLA.com, talking Bucs every week over the course of the season. It's on Bucs Bonus, powered by 1-800-ASK-GARY. Guys, thanks so much for joining for
Absolutely.
For
fun.
Week 1 recap, Week 2
first
preview.
Session.
But yeah, the first one in the Stream Center. Love it. Gotta love it. Folks, pay attention to Karen and Dan on social media. I'm JB. We'll see you next time on Bucs Bonus.